It's just gone 7:30 in the morning. It's already 32 degrees Celsius. It's meant to reach 42 degrees today. There's a whole bunch of wind coming through. I can smell smoke, and that's because there is a catastrophic fire danger rating in place here in Australia, well, Victoria, at the moment. And I'm just thinking to myself, 10 years ago, I didn't have any grey hairs. So then I started prospecting. Nonetheless, we're out here hard rock mining. This little hard rock mine piqued my interest not only because I found gold metal detecting and dry panning around here, but because of this quartz vein. Usually you can tell what the old timers were working because it doesn't exist anymore. And what I mean by that is that this is a dirty great big hole, and you wouldn't remove that much rock if it didn't have something of value in it. So that got me really curious about this vein right here. You can see on the left hand side that there's a big chunk of quartz that they left alone, but they dove in on the right hand side there. And I thought, geez, if they chased it, maybe there was something in there. Maybe not good enough for them back then, but maybe okay for me now. I followed that vein in to right here, and this is where I picked up the quartz vein. But when I crushed up a small 1-pan sample of it, I got some good gold. But as usual, there's a problem, because it wouldn't be Vo-Gus prospecting if there was a problem. I'm not 100% certain that the rock crusher was clean from the last ore crush I did, which had a considerable amount of gold in it. So I don't know if I got a contaminated sample, and that's why we're back today to take another one. I got a brand new shovel. Look how unused that is. I'm just going to open this up a wee bit so I can get in there before I sample the vein. Right. It's too hot and early for this. It is that bloody hot. Oh my god. That's why you'll see a lot of Australian prospectors prospect at night, because it's just less. Gotta watch out for bull ants here. So this is where our vein is, in this section. Took a good sample out last time, but I've got to open up more ground. Now this is bedrock. So this is undug bedrock right here. I'm going to try and remove it so I can access the vein. We're hitting small little side veins now. You can hear the quartz. That right there is why it's a catastrophic fire danger rating. Hearing thunder. Thunder means lightning. Lightning during summer, high temperatures, high winds, big bushfires. Fingers crossed that doesn't kick off today. I've had enough of bushfires in my life. Alright, we got it uncovered. Hard rock mining is the hardest type of mining. The rewards you can get for hard rock mining are fabulous. A commercial mine only needs a couple of grams per ton to be viable, but they have to have the volume of tonnage to be able to make that work. So this vein could go 20 ounces a ton. It could, in theory, and if it did, a mining company wouldn't touch it because it's too small. There's not enough volume. But for a prospector like me, if it was even going 1 ounce a ton, I'd have a really good payday. But finding a vein, even in the gold fields, that hasn't been touched, that has good values, is difficult. Anyway, we can clearly see the vein now. I've got it nice and exposed. This is our host rock here, and this is our vein structure right here. I have metal detected this with the 6000. I haven't found any specimens of large gold. All the gold that came out of my crusher was very, very fine. But there's a real defined line there between the edge of the vein and the host rock. Now gold can accumulate in the vein, but often the richer sections are right on the contact. And it's just started to rain a little bit. Oh, it's gonna be an exciting day, isn't it? I bought my Gold Monster 1000 along. I find that the Gold Monster is probably the best metal detector to use on hard rock. It's very stable for this kind of hunting, and it gives you a much clearer idea of what's in the ground than what a GPX 6000 or even an SDC does, in my opinion. With the rain coming down, it's going to get humid as out here, which is just the worst. Normally, in general hunting purposes, I'll run this in Auto 2. It's very stable, it still gives great sensitivity. But for hard rock, I've just backed it into Manual 10. Now I'm going to spend some time ground balancing it to the vein, and then we're going to go over it. See a very high iron content reading there, but it's also going both ways. I reckon that's going to have some gold in it. I really hope that it wasn't contamination. I'm going to open this vein up a little bit. I'm going to dig down by the side of it until it gets a little bit more solid. Finally got down to solid vein. It's not breaking up, it's not cracking. So this is where we want to take our sample from, because the harder the vein, the less weathering it will have had. And it's looking good. There is very interesting minerals going on in this rock. There's a lot of stuff there with big names. All I can tell you is the dirtier the quartz, at least in my area, the better the chances of gold are. Better get my Vegemite sandwich out of there. This is a really good representative sample of this vein, so I'm thinking we should have our results. One long walk back to the car with a heavy bucket. Oh my god, it is ridiculously hot out here. I don't want to be out here any longer than I have to. Let's cut to the chase. That bucket behind me is going to tell me whether or not that vein is carrying gold or if it was contamination. My instinct tells me it's definitely got gold in it. However, the quantity of gold is the most important thing. Obviously we all want bonanzas, but you got to work off what your minimum would be. I want to see at least a 0.15 gram take from the bucket that I've got there. This is only about 1/4 of a bucket's worth of rock to crush, and that means that if I get a 0.15 from this, I'll get 0.6 per bucket, or around 60 Australian dollars. So when I factor in things like my time, the energy, expenditure and whatnot, I can make a profit off that margin. So I need a 0.1 to be worth chasing that. I've already gone and classified down to a very tight mesh all of the loose dirt that was in my rock, and because the gold in this is likely going to be ultra fine, I'm going to do at least 2 passes on this rock to crush it down as much as possible. You all should be pretty familiar with my RC1 rock crusher. This is a little unit made by Keen. It's great for the amateur enthusiast, and they're relatively cheap when it comes to amateur rock crushers. And it's powered by a lawnmower engine, so if you can service a lawnmower engine, you can service your rock crusher. Doesn't that just look tasty? With our gold in this area tending to sit between 300 and 1,000 mesh, even the smallest particles of rock you can see here are going to be far too big to allow that gold to be released. So we're going to put all of this stuff through again. There is one caveat with that, which is if you find that you get chunkier pieces, you don't want to keep running them through the mill, because the gold's not going to break down. It's literally just going to conform to little balls and get stuck in the classifier. You'll never break them down. Alright, there's enough material in here. We're going to do one more pass. 3 passes done. Get rid of this yellow water. Brown, yellow, I don't know. I'm colorblind, stop judging. I'm going to do what's called blowing the silt out. Makes it a lot easier to pan because you don't get these clay balls stuck in it. So what we do is we mix it all up and we get rid of all the mud, all the stuff that gums the riffles up and makes it difficult to pan. Now that I've blown the silt out, you can see instead of it looking like mud, it looks a lot more like sand, and that's because we got rid of that real fine grit. Oh, if I could get it out of the bucket. There we go. All that work fits in less than one pan. Now we're going to find out if we get 0.15 grams of gold, I'll pursue it a little harder, or if we get chunks. But if we don't get chunks and we only get a little bit of gold, it's not worth my time on this scale. Got down to the skinny end now, and the thing that I have always hated about hard rock is that you just, unless you're crushing a really rich specimen, you don't see any gold. And that's because there's no black sands to slow it up in getting into the riffle, so it hides right down the bottom, and you always wait until the last second to see it. I can't wait to see what's in this pan and get out of this ferocious heat. However, first of all, I just wanted to say please check out the description below. We're going to find a bunch of links that go directly back into supporting this channel to make videos just like this one. I am sweating bullets out here. It's almost 40 degrees centigrade. So we're going to get this over and done with pretty damn quick. Let's just have a quick squeeze. We've got sulfides, that's this silver material here. We've actually got a lot of sulfides. I'm very surprised at how much is coming out actually. I'm just going to carefully check some of these larger rocks that made it through the crush, because if they made it through the crush, there's a chance that they could be specimens. We've got gold. Oh, we've got gold. I don't know if it's 0.15, but we've got gold. Plenty of sulfide materials. Roasting these may release some more gold, because gold can be coated in sulfides from the crush. But then we start getting up into that fine free mill stuff, and there is a lot more than I saw in my first pan, but more importantly, more than I was kind of expecting. That might not be 0.15, but that's worth investigating a little more. Because just like in alluvial streams, hard rock veins tend to have richer and poorer sections. So if I go back and sample a little deeper, it might get a little better. So leave it with me, because we found a new hard rock vein to go mine.